So you've gotten your first sewing machine. Yay! So let's get you ready to sew. Today I'm going to share a few tips on how to get set up completely comfortable at your sewing station, and as well as sharing a few tips on things to keep close by and at your station. First things first, you know that handy dandy notebook that came with your sewing machine? It's a good idea to read that. At least give it a good look through. Sometimes when we get our machines, we're so excited to sew that we forget to kind of pause and learn the parts of the machine, learn about the needles it uses, learn about how to properly maintain and care for your machine. That is your new baby. Take good care of it. One of the things I did when I was originally learning how to sew was to put a machine needle in the machine, but don't thread it, and take a piece of notebook paper and just run that through several times, sewing on those straight blue lines. It goes a long way in getting the basic mechanics of using the machine down so that on your fabric later on, you're a pro. So that's my first tip. Look over that book and practice using your machine. Next tip, here are a few things that I keep at my machine to make sure that I can stay in the flow of sewing as I'm sewing. But by all means, depending on what your project is, take a few moments and do some research. Go get a sewing kit that will have all the basics in there that you'll need, like chalk for marking up your fabrics, and a good pair of scissors and those kinds of things, which we'll go over later in our cutting out video. But for now, here are the things that I keep at my machine to make sure I can stay in the flow. First, before I go into that, I want to talk to you a little bit about sewing desk ergonomics. For any desk really, but especially for those of us who are a little shorter, it's really important to get yourself situated in such a way that your knees are about at a right degree angle with the floor in your most comfy sewing chair, and that when your hands are on the bed of the machine, like so, just making sure you can see that in the video. When your hands are on the bed of the machine and you're feeding the fabric through your machine, you want to make sure that your elbow is at about a 90-degree angle. That way you're not hunched over like that and really trying to keep up with a higher up bed of the machine. That'll give you a little tension in your shoulders that, hey, you really don't need. Sewing is about stress relief, right? And creativity. So you want to keep yourself most comfortable when you're sewing. That's a good thing to keep in mind when you're setting up your station. For me, I actually ordered bookshelves that were really short and really sturdy, and then I put a desktop over that. Short people got to work it out, okay? So next and last, really, here are the things that I keep at my sewing station every time I come here to sew. Again, go get your kit based on what you want to do, but here are the things that I keep around. A good pair of scissors are great for snipping threads. Even if your machine has a thread cutter, inevitably you're going to want to snip some threads here and there. I keep a pen or two to jot down those notes and ideas. All the time, something I've tweaked on a pattern or something like that, and I just have to jot it down real quick. All kinds of things find their way into my cup. I got some bobbins down there. You don't need all of that, but keep a good pair of scissors and a pen and a fabric pencil or pen for marking your fabric, reinforcing those dots that you make when you're cutting out so that you line everything up well and your sleeves fit right. So that's basically it for my trusty little cup here. Just keep a good pair of scissors, fabric marker, a pen, and then your extra tools that you'll need, like this little purple thing. It's literally called the purple thing, but it's so handy for pulling threads out of the machine and making small adjustments that you wouldn't think about with your fabric, especially with things like putting elastic into a case. But keep those little tools close to you so that you're not always having to reach for that when you're sewing. I always have your pincushion. Mine is a metal pincushion. It's homemade. I use the back of name tags. But go ahead and keep somewhere to have those pins be in their own place for when you're pulling those out of the fabric and pattern as you're sewing. You never want to run over those with your machine needle. And yeah, I'll tell you all about that on another video. The last thing that I keep close by is Scotch tape, magic tape. This isn't something you're going to find in a sewing kit, but it's really handy in terms of just taking a small piece and using that to put on the ends of thread. Bobbin, you know, when you're done with that thread, when you take it off the machine, or bobbins and things like that, and you just need a little something to make that loose end stick in place, this is great. It's so light in terms of stickiness, it doesn't damage the thread, and it keeps everything a lot neater. Last thing, always have a bottle of water. For me, it's a good bottle of coconut water, but it really doesn't matter. Whatever, you know, keep your fluids up so you can flow as long as you want. That's it for now, and I hope y'all are doing awesome. Join me next time and we'll talk about getting set up to cut out. We'll talk about choosing your first patterns. Maybe you'll choose an easy pattern with me. I'll be starting with pajamas, and I'm gonna make several pair through the winter for Christmas so that I can learn how to make pants and have something wonderful to give to my family for Christmas. So join me next time if you want to think about sewing those patterns with me. I'll post and share those patterns with you, and we can maybe do that project together. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Take care.